another edition of Coach's Corner postseason style. And don't forget, if you want to get your coaches in, if you want to get your questions in for our Grill J segment coming up in a little bit, a couple ways you can do it. Give us an email, sports@DaytonOldies.org. Give us a call, 937-237-9796. That's 237-WSWO. And we already have several questions for our next segment for Coach Mitten. But first up, the Hilliard Darby Panthers come calling. And, Coach, I cannot recall Wayne matching up with Hilliard Darby. They did with Hilliard Davidson a couple years ago in the playoffs, but I can't remember matching up with Hilliard Darby.
Exactly, and Hilliard Darby has probably always played second fiddle to Hilliard Davidson, but they bring in a solid football team, a very powerful football team. They run the power run game, a triple option type, Centerville-ish type offense, and they've got a pretty good quarterback, and a lot of people have been telling me he's kind of like a Tim Tebow-ish kind of quarterback. He's power. He runs a lot of power game, and he can throw the ball and just make some plays and make some things happen. So I'm sure they're going to try to do what some of the other teams have done to us and ball control us and keep our offense off the field, and it's up to our defense to step up and make sure it doesn't happen.
And you mentioned that quarterback. That would be senior Nate Green coming in. He is the conference's number 2 passer. He is a conference number 1 rusher. And that's a pretty good package for your quarterback.
Absolutely.
But this is a team, as you said, that definitely likes to run the ball, and that's evidenced coming in through the 10-game regular season. They average 255.6 yards a game on the ground.
Yeah, and again, we've seen those type of teams, and I think that'll bode well for us. But again, you to see them and to know about them is one thing. To stop them is another. So we're going to have to dig down and get after them. And obviously, it's no secret the way that you defeat teams like that is to get up on them a couple scores and get him out of that rush game. So, but like you said, he's got something that some of those other teams that we've faced doesn't, that he can throw the ball pretty well.
And the 2 losses for Hilliard Darby this year, they're 8-2 in the regular season, 6-1, finishing second to Westerville Central in their OCC division. There's multiple divisions in that conference. They were to Hilliard Davidson and Westerville Central, and Central went undefeated in that conference to claim their title. And to go along with that stout running game, they also have a pretty good defense too up there at Hilliard Darby.
They do, and they're solid. We've been watching a lot of film on them, and some teams move the ball, but it's like they've got some bend don't break type defense, and they get a little tougher as they get closer to the goal line. But again, I think our guys have developed a really good game plan against them, and we'll see how well it looks in practice this week, and hopefully we can execute a very good one on Saturday. I like the fact that we're at home in front of our own home people, and I think that's going to play a big important role in the outcome of the game.
And their head coach, John Santagata, is now in his 6th year, and last year he was the OCC Coach of the Year, leading that team to a league title. So the Hilliard Darby Panthers, although not as well known as their Hilliard Davidson brethren, they're a foe that is going to have to be contended with on Saturday night, and it's so nice to have a playoff game back at Good Samaritan Athletic Field's Hodkamp Stadium. It's been since 2008.
Well, it's the 3rd one in the history of the school, and what was the first one? I think the first one was
would that have been
Alex
Moeller?
Early.
Okay.
Would have been Moeller when they came to town, and that worked out in our favor. The next one was the 2008 game, and then now this one. So we've been fortunate with the home playoff games, and I know our guys don't want to mess that up. So it's a good thing, and everybody knows the most important thing in the playoffs, number 1 is to get in, number 2 is to win the first round. Don't win the first round, that's the biggest hurdle that everybody has to jump through. And once you do that, then you can get on your way. But you got to win the first round. And a lot of people say, would you rather play an opponent like a Colerain or somebody like that? And whoever you're going to play in Division I and in the Region 1 or 2, it's going to be tough. So I think we've got a good draw. We really do. We've got a good draw on our side, and to looking at the tournament and not looking ahead. But with here at Darby, I believe the second round would be playing, the winner of Centerville and Dublin Kaufman, and then the third round would be whoever Hilliard Davison's playing. So, we wouldn't have to run into a Catholic type school or someone like that, what everybody considers a powerhouse, until the semifinals, if we were fortunate to move along like that. But so we've got a good draw. We've just got to take advantage of it, and it's going to only happen 1 week at a time.
And you've been preaching that all throughout the season, taking it one game at a time. And something else that you've talked about is it really doesn't so much matter who is the opponent, because the Wayne Warriors still need to execute what they need to do themselves in order to win the game. And that leads into my question, is that from a coaching standpoint, is it easier to go up against somebody you may not know a lot about, you never really faced them, you haven't really seen a lot of them or know a lot about them, versus an opponent like an Elder or Moeller, teams that you've played against, teams that you know what their systems are like, and you can start, they're going to do this and they're going to do that, and you got all that stuff going in your mind to have to worry about.
Well, I think it's either or. I mean, it's one of those things where I think you have to. I think one's just like the other. It's fresh to play somebody new that you've never played before. It's a little, I don't want to use the word scary, but it's a little interesting, if you will, that we don't know a lot about them, and what are they going to bring? What are their adjustments? A lot of times that when we line up against Centerville or somebody like that we've played, that if we do this and we're successful doing this, they're going to come back and do this. So you kind of know that in a way, and it's just a point of going out and executing it, but we don't know what their kind of adjustments will be until during the game. So that's going to be quite interesting for us. But I saw a thing last night on Nick Saban, and I don't know if everybody saw it, but what a great piece on him. I think it was 60 Minutes, and he talked about how they get so into what they're doing and the execution of what they want to do that obviously you got to scout out your opponent and you got to know who you're playing against, but he wants to get to the point where they play so well and they do things so well themselves that they want to try to do them better than they did before, and just doing them, that good, and to the point where you're striving for excellence. And I think that's what you have to strive for as a coach. I mean, you can't get all caught up in who you're playing. You got to know, which different schemes that you're going against, but I think you've really got to try to play better than our defense has to try to play better than they did against Northmont, and things like that. And are we better? We always talk about peaking, at the right time. Are we better than we were, game 1, 2, 3, and things like that? I feel like we are. I think our team's growing a lot, growing in chemistry, growing in our different positions. We're able to do some things now, offensively and defensively, that we weren't able to do in some of those early games. So it's a unique thing that we're able to be in situation, and I like our chances. I really do. I've told you many times that people probably getting tired of me saying it, but this group, man, is just such a special group, and I love them to death, and it's one of the most enjoyable years I've ever had in coaching.
And not to get away from that 1 week at a time, but the Wayne Warriors did finish 9-1, and the last time Wayne finished with a 9-1 regular season, the year was 1999.
Yep.
Jay Vinton was brand new as head coach of the Wayne Warriors.
Second year.
And
we whiffed a punt, too, by the way. I had to bring that into it. We whiffed a punt against Centerville. People that were there remember that. I know they do. Bobby Long went back to punt, but when he whiffed it, we were on our own 5 or 10 yard line, and he actually went to, put the ball out there and whiffed it. And I thought, oh my gosh, that can never happen again. And guess what? It did. But you know what? What a great resiliency to come back. Caleb Davis. We don't talk a lot about our punting game and our kicking game, but Caleb really came back and did a sensational job, I thought, in the punting game. And then really in the second half, especially when we're trying to flip field position and everything, remarkable job. And they were trying to block it and everything, and he just did a great job. A lot of kids would melt in that situation, and say, and just shelf it, and he didn't. I gave him a lot of credit.
Must be those green shoes he wears.
They were about ready to be taken off of him, if you know. But no, he really concentrated, and you know, he got that. I don't really call it nerves. I mean, I think he just saw some pressure coming, and you know. But again, you know, he had the defense to back him up, and stepped up and had his back. You know, as people refer to that, and it was really sensational to see.
Well, Coach, when we return, we're going to have our Grill J segment. Don't forget, give us your phone calls, 237-9796, your email.